Hello. All right. I'm going to be going and setting up Visual Studio, Gedit, and the basic stuff I need to edit code. It's PC. At least that's what we're going to do tonight. Hold on, I'm just going to go get some water. All right. I'm not sure if I'm going to put on any music, because this actually should be pretty quick. Okay. First things first, I need to set this up. Right now, this is set to just capture games. I need to do a whole display capture. Here we go. All right. Yeah, so part of this stream is also going to be getting my streaming setup converted over. Actually, no, it's not. That's literally just going to be copying files, so that actually won't be for streaming. All right, though. Let's get started. So the first thing I want is Gedit. I don't Gedit official site. I don't want to download it off Softonic because I'm not sure if this is yeah. So these sites that are just post apps, these are full of viruses. Or at least there's no way to verify it. Hey, said who? Hopefully I can download it off the GNOME website here. Yeah, okay. 64-bit binaries. This is the way to go. Download it off the official site. Oh yeah, Softonic is shit. Man, I just gotta watch out for any of these sites that basically are just like for downloading apps. I think they're basically... Wait! Look at this! This ad is bypassing ad block. Oh, because it's by Softonic themselves. You see here, solutions by Softonic. So they have their own advertisements so that they aren't blocked by ad block. This website really is bad. Oh my god. Alright. This. I want to check and see. Does this make the stream drop frames of the bitrate stutter? No, it doesn't. Okay. Download a Softonic installer. It doesn't even allow you to download the program directly. Man, I hate stuff like that. Oh, that's brutal. Alright. Computing space requirements. Oops. Oh man, one thing I was doing when I was copying over the files, or that I'm about to copy over, but I was first putting them on the USB, and I'm looking at these Visual Studio project files, and no, I swear to God, 99% of the space taken up, like, so this is basically the space distribution of like the projects. 1% of the project is taken up by like my code and the actual like Visual Studio project file that has XML and like the folders and all that stuff. And then like 99%, so there would be like a megabyte at most of code, and then there's 35 plus megabytes of these SDF IntelliSense databases for like the Visual Studio autocorrect and all that stuff. Good, yeah, no drop frames from that. Sweet. It's, man, stuff like that drives me absolutely crazy. So like I'm going to copy this stuff over to the USB, and I'm like, okay, I can copy over a gig of data because I have like 20, no, I have like 100 projects, each with these 30 megabyte databases. And I'm like, okay, this is taking forever to copy over to the USB, or I can go through and delete each of these 30 megabyte database files, reduce the size to like 300 megabytes, and then that copied over just like that. It's like, man, if they just like gave you, like, I have IntelliSense disabled on the PC that code came from, and it's still creating those databases. It's like, oh man, that stuff. Brutal. Oh, I forgot I had chat open here. Put this in the desktop. Hell yeah, here we go. Sounds stupid, this is a new computer? No, this is what I've been playing games on for a while. Alright, now I need to get, color theme. Oh man, what theme did I use? I might actually just go to my other PC and copy over the theme, just because I really like the black and, or the dark theme I had on my computer. I've been using that for a while. So I'm just going to copy that over. Might do that right now. Hold on, I'll be right back. I might actually still have that PC on. I'm going to be really quick, just 1 minute. Man, I just had the stupidest issue. Okay, so I copy everything over, right? And I go to right click. Actually, I could plug this in and show it right now. So, like, to make sure the USB doesn't get corrupted, you're supposed to go down here and you're supposed to go eject device. Like, I've literally had whole USBs break before and all the data corrupt because I just pull it out because it just so happens to be writing or reading. So I always do this eject. Anyways, I go to do this eject, and Windows said it was in use for like 5 fucking minutes. I was just sitting there for 5 minutes, just pressing eject over and over again, and it's like, this is in use. I've got nothing open on the computer using it. I closed all the file explorers, everything. Holy shit, that was that was annoying. Okay. So I think I'm going to install Visual Studio first. So I think you might have been here, Sadhu, for this. I was trying to make a video a while ago of how to install Visual Studio and get started programming in C and C++, and then I had a whole bunch of issues because the version I downloaded didn't have full C99 support. Yeah, I'm basically going to do that right now, but like actually not fuck it up, because I know now to download the community edition. I know what to download. Alright, so you should use CLang. Nah, I just like using Visual Studio because Microsoft is such, like, Microsoft is so petty. They seriously put things in MSVC that that, like, I'm pretty sure they don't have in CLang. Actually, wait, I want to see something. SSADX support. You can use CLang in Visual Studio. What difference does it make? MSVC difference in CLang. Oops. I feel like this is something that Google will have better search results for. Major semantic difference is MSVC, used to defer all parsing of an analysis of inline method bodies in CAMP class 10. Okay, that's really affect it. CLang has full C11, C18 support. Okay, I don't use any of those features though. Personally, I don't care about C++ standards because I think they're ridiculous. So I don't really judge it based off that. Right, that didn't really give an answer. So they asked why he was behind, and the person basically just said, yeah, we're behind. It doesn't explain why they were behind. Wait, does GCC use LLVM behind the scenes? Yeah, I don't think so. I would use MinGW, I think, if anything. But I'm still using the old version of Visual Studio for a reason. Person's talking about big differences, but I'm pretty sure he's running it on different operating systems too. On Windows and on an Ivy Bridge system. This is what he's like. The difference here in performance, I guarantee you this guy is coming from Windows and Linux, not from the compiler. Debugging in particular is actually impossible using MinGW and GCC. Can't you just use GCC cannot generate MSVC debugging files? MinGW debugging on Windows. Yeah, I don't know. I think you could just use a debugger, you just only get assembly, you don't actually get using Visual Studio to debug MinGW. Oh, so okay, I guess there's this app, Visual GDB, that probably generates the debug files. Good thing I don't debug any of my code, right? Oops. Okay, that's the one. Alright. Okay. Hit record. Alright. I'm probably not going to do any talking here because I think I'm just going to do a voiceover afterwards. Fuck it. I should just do a voiceover just in case. That way I don't have to do it twice. Alright. Alright. Hello. Today in this video I'm going to show you how to download Visual Studio and compile your first C and C++ program. You're going to want to go to Google and look for Visual Studio downloads. You can download the latest version, but I'm stubborn and I've gotten very used to using the older version of Visual Studio, so I'm going to go down here, download the old version. You will need to be signed in for a Microsoft account for this. They do say that you need a subscription to Visual Studio for this, but it's completely free. So you want Visual, if you're downloading an older version like me, you want to make sure you have Update 5 or the version that was released in 2015, otherwise it's not going to have full C99 features. And you just want to go through the regular installation process here. Install whatever you think you need. You'll probably, the Microsoft Foundation classes is actually very important. It includes stuff like stuff you need for reading webcams, accessing webcams, stuff like that. So if you don't know, you probably just want to include this or include all of this. Now just wait for it to install. So in this is the part of the video where I will cut ahead, skip ahead. So then once this is installed and it's created the projects folder, I'm going to copy my projects over. Slow installation. Man, it's installing on an SSD right now. I am like, I thought it would be way quicker than this. Like, the last time I was doing this, it was on a hard drive. So I was kind of like, oh yeah, it's going slow because it's a hard drive. Now we're on an SSD and it's going like the same speed it was before. if you do see tutorials, you really need to focus on memory. It's way more important than people think. You'll see the C tutorials I wrote tonight. They're very simple. Cool game, by the way. Man, this is like one of my... Okay, I obviously am not ready to do hard right now. This is like one of my favorite games. It really teaches you to take your time and think about what moves. I never knew how it worked. This is like... The other interesting thing about this game is it's all about probabilities. There's no guarantee that you're gonna win. I think that's what makes it fun, because that's like what a lot of video games, or like what a lot of games these days are about. So right here we can see it's one of these blocks. There's 3 blocks around this, 1, 2, 3. So that one is right there, so we know the last clear spot is right there. Oh yeah. Windows XP targeting with C++. Haven't seen that for a while. Yeah, so like right here where you just have ones, right here you basically need to guess whether or not which one of these is has a mine or not. There's no guarantee. So I got lucky there. The one mine is right there. So we know there's none around here. So then we know there's 2 right here, because those are the surrounding 2. That means there's not one right there. And we know the one for that's right there, so there's none right there. We know the one for these is right here, so there's none right there. Oh man, it's like, it's all about deduction. Well, it's both deduction and induction. Holy shit, yeah, this is a great example of deduction and induction. Deduction is reducing the options, counting up which ones of these. Actually, I'm not sure which one is induction and deduction. So if we know that this one is the one here that we can deduce that this one is clear. What is the... So if deduction is deduce, then induction is induce? That just sounds weird. I don't know, logic. Man, I just remember talking to the logic professor at my college and talking about how I was trying to make a simulation that won bets in an online video game, and he was just trying to explain gambler's fallacy to me. Induct, maybe? Yeah. It's induce, never mind. Induce and deduce. It just sounds weird when you say it by itself. So I guess it's like if we know that there's one surrounding mine here, we can induce that this is the one mine. I think that's how it works. And then it's like if we know that these are the three surrounding mines, that we can deduce that this one isn't the mine. I think that's the way it works. Oh man, these ones are... We know there's two right here, but any of these three could be open. I'm just going to take a gamble. Oh yes, that one wasn't. Yeah, both. Deduce, deduct, induce, induct. Who came up with English? Man. Oh, wait, so... oh my god, I accidentally... Dude, I didn't even left click. I right clicked. I accidentally right clicked. Oh no. Whence thy found thee way. Well, this is almost done anyways, so... Okay, let's try and do an insane... Holy shit, this is all guessing. Yeah. Oh, nice. This is actually a good start. English used to be more complex, I'm pretty sure. Old English is really funny. Dude, Old English is crazy. Middle English as well. If I beat this insane level, I'm going to be very happy. On Wikipedia, some of those letters look almost like a tribal language. Do you ever think some of those tribal languages could be like a super complex language and we just don't understand, like, we just don't know because we don't understand? Like magic? Anglo-Saxon, yeah. Oh, man. Yep, it's magic. Anything you don't understand. So 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, I don't know where this next one is. Oh shit, it's done. Wait, is it done? It just opened a Visual Studio. Windows Phone 8.1 emulators. Okay. So this would actually be a good spot to gamble. There's 2 already taken here, so there's a 1 in 3 chance I get the one I select here right. Shit. since this is probability, I'm actually thinking part of this is just doing it quickly, because the quicker you do it and the more probabilities you sample, it's just better. Oh my god, it's so close to being done. Wait, I told it not to install the phone emulator. Why is it doing this? Wait. So I think it started up the emulator setup, and then because I set to not install it, it just froze? I don't know. Anyways. I'm sure I want to cancel setup. I don't know. No, I don't. Should I just let this? I don't think it's ever going to finish. Alright, okay. Let's finally do this. Man, if this breaks... Okay, thank God. Alright. Alright, once Visual Studio is finished installing, you can just launch it. Like me, you'll also want to put an icon on your desktop. And now you'll just want to wait for it to open. The first startup might take a while, as it needs to set up some files. Welcome, sign into Visual Studio. Alright, I like a dark theme. You can select what you want. And I'm going to select Visual C++ as my development settings. You probably want to do the same. Just be aware for Visual Studio as well, even when you're doing C programming, it uses the C++ settings, so just be aware if you don't see options for C or anything, you'll probably be looking for C++. Alright, now once Visual Studio is open, create a new project. You'll want to look for empty C++ project. We're just going to want to call ours Hello World. So like I was saying before, it uses a C++ project for C. The main difference is you will want to create a C file. So instead of creating a CPP file, you'll want to create main.c. Now we can get started with our first program. You'll want to include stdio.h, create a function called int_main like this. Type the function printf hello world, and then return 0, because the function needs to return an integer. Now you can go and build hello world, and if you go into your project folder, release or release here, you will find hello world.exe, and running this in a console. Why is my font size so small here? Alright. Then you will want to run hello world.exe on the console. You'll see it prints out hello world. Okay, I'm going to change this. Change this back to the default. Wait. What? Not working. What? Wait. Oh, it doesn't change the color. Wait, why isn't it changing it? Huh? Wait, you see this? My console is blue. The text is blue. But even when I go and I set the properties to defaults, and it says the text. Oh, wait. Wait, what? Even when I change it. Oh, wait, I have to restart it? Okay, that's so weird. Alright, let's continue on where. Alright, so you'll want to open up a console. You can go right here in the Explorer and type in CMD. You'll want to enter hello world.exe. This will run our program, and you can see it prints out hello world. There we go. Congratulations, you have written your first C program. Alright, that was it. Oh my god, that fucking threw me off at the end when I opened up the console and it was super small text in blue. That was like... Oh man. Wait until you see... So there's two versions of this tutorial. There's a Linux version. Oh wait. There's a Linux version and this Windows version. Wait until you see the Linux version. It's literally 40 seconds long. The tutorial is literally create a text file, write int main printf, and then you just open up a console and type in GCC, compile, and boom. You don't even need to install anything. It's actually amazing. Okay. Anyways, now let's set up our actual... Do you not need to sign in anymore? When I used to do this, it used to force me to sign in, otherwise it didn't work. I just want to try this again. Is it actually not gonna... I guess it's not gonna ask me to sign up. Hell yeah, I like that. Okay. Delete this Hello World project. Okay, we're gonna copy over our stuff from the USB now. So right here, Black Pearl 2 was our gedit theme. So we can just go and gedit right here. Just add the theme straight from there. Alright, there we go. Hey Poster, I thought you were already set up for C++. This is a different computer that I haven't compiled anything on yet or really done any programming. No, this actually started with me just doing some shader programming on ShaderToy on this PC, and then I was like, fuck, I just gotta get Visual C++ on here. So, yeah, you can see I've got like 3 different copies of my stuff. There's one that also has, here it is. So this also has the, this has like asset importer, glue, SDL. This is all the libraries I need as well. Have you used Docker to create build environments? No. I'm a very simple person. I just copy and paste files, And yeah. Copy these over, the projects folder. Man, I had my hardest thing, the most difficult thing for me when I was learning C++, at least, was setting up libraries like this and doing build paths and all that. That's what drove me crazy about Linux, is when I switched to Linux and realized you don't have to worry about any of this stuff that I got stuck on when I was learning C and C++, including libraries. Is just doing dash lib, whatever library it is. So it's like, when I have to deal with this with Windows, I don't want to have to do I don't want to have to use any third-party programs. I don't want to have to rely on CMake or anything. I want to just try and like make it as direct as possible. That's why also when I'm writing my engine here, Strand Engine, if you see, it's all header files, so you don't need to include, like, there's no real build paths. You can just straight up include the code files. Okay. Now, copy this into here. And then one of the things I'm going to need to do, I believe, is go into the projects. I think. Oh, I need to add gedit to this list of I wish it was the standard. It just, yeah, it blows my mind that Windows is now adding the Linux console support. It would have been amazing if they just used Linux package, or at least supported Linux packages from the beginning. That would be phenomenal. So I think I have to change the path here. I think there's a path. Oh no, yeah, so this is why I did relative paths. You can see dot dot backslash. So this is part of the stuff I was talking about, not having to worry about build paths. I set this up so that I can just copy the files over, and as long as they're in the same relative path, then it's all good. So, okay, I'm actually going to try opening this. If this, oh my god, if this compiles right now, I'm going to be so happy, because it was not this easy the last time I set this up. Oh shit. Wait, let me just check this. Okay, it compiled, but right now the test I'm doing doesn't use any libraries. Let me see this test around. Code execution cannot proceed because GLU32 is not found. Never mind, it did compile with the libs. What is it doing right now? I can't remember what I was testing. I've been doing some tests off stream. Oh yeah, so I was testing compression here. I got a run length encoding, a binary run length encoding compression algorithm right here that it's fucking amazing. Or not amazing, but it's like, it's perfect for what I want for run length encoding. Can encode repeating data at like 1000 to 1 rate, so it has major compression for like blank flat data, and even like floating point numbers it gets 90% compression on. Hold on, we'll actually see once I get this compiled. Yeah, I guess it still needs GLU32, even though, I guess just because it... Wait, let me make sure. Did it just... 2021-13. Yeah, it just compiled this. Okay, I guess it... I don't know why this console app needs library, but anyways, let's set this up. So this is why I have this lib folder here. You can see here lib32, 64. You've got the different 32 and 64-bit binaries. So then I can just add this folder to my path. So when you're actually releasing the game, or when I'm actually releasing these programs, I need to copy the libraries, these DLLs, into the release and like package them along with the game. But when I'm doing development, I obviously don't want to copy each of these DLLs into every single project folder. So adding them to the path. Okay, actually, I think I want to add it to the system variable, not the user variable. I'm not sure if I'm going to need to restart for that to take effect. We'll see. What is this up here? How do I... There we go. Code execution cannot proceed because GLU32 is not found and installed. Let me Google this. Do environment variables take effect until restart? I'm pretty sure I probably need to restart. Let's see. You shouldn't? Yeah, that's what I thought. How do you add Windows? Changes to environmental variables should take effect immediately if you make a change to your main properties. Although any already programs will not. Oh, so I probably have to close this console and reopen it, is what I'm guessing. There we go. Okay, so you can see here. Oh yeah, so I was actually compressing. I was trying a different. If smaller than 16. So I've been trying a whole bunch of different forms of compression. I've been trying to get like a nice form of lossless compression for a while now, like something that I could basically just throw binary data through and have it compress. The things I've tried in the past have like compressed things like blank data, but when you throw in things like floating points, they're so chaotic it actually ends up expanding the data and making it bigger, which has been a huge issue I've had. So what I've been looking into is these binary encoding methods like run length encoding, where you can just feed any binary data in, like floating points or anything, integers regardless of like what data type it is. So this run length encoding, or anyone that doesn't know how run length encoding works, it's like the simplest form of compression. If you have repeating things, it instead encodes it as the number of time it repeats. So imagine binary, if you have 100 repeating zeros, instead of outputting 100 zeros, it'll put out a 0 and then encode that 0 was repeated 100 times. So the theory being that even if you wrote that number of zeros as a 32-bit integer, that 32 bits of the times it repeated 0 would still be way more than or way less than 100 zeros, thus compressing. But you also have to encode what the bits are, so it gets really complicated. So approach that I have right here, it basically outputs the bits like normal, but after the bits have repeated twice, if you have 3 of the same repeating bit, it instead means 4. Is it like LZ77? No, so that actually finds repeating chunks of data. I guess actually it is kind of like, so yeah, LZ77 actually is like run length encoding, except it doesn't just repeat the same thing. It has like a dictionary or hash map of a bunch of different things that have repeated. So if you have the same repeating thing, LZ77 is like run length encoding on steroids that doesn't work on a binary level. It works on like a whole bunch of chunks of bytes at once. So if you have like repeating words, it'll actually be able to find that repetition of the word and then paste it in instead of putting the whole data, instead of rewriting all the characters of that word again. Alright, so just to show how this works though, if you imagine 2 bits in a row, 2 repeating ones, like 1, 1 will just be exactly the same, but then once you have 3, that encodes as it encodes as like the 3rd bit, if you imagine. So then if you have 4, it encodes as the 4th bit, so that's 8. So if you imagine now 5 bits can actually encode 16 bits repeating. So then this ends up creating like a recursive thing where to get odd numbers, like if you wanted to do 7, you would need to do it by combining like 4, which is 3 bits, and then you would need to do 2 bits, which is 2, and then you would need to do 1, and then all those add up to the 7 bits that you actually have repeating. So I just uncommented a bunch of this code. I'm not sure if it's actually going to work. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I did something wrong because it says 50% the size, but what it actually does is like 90%. What did I do that it, oh, wraps plus plus. Yeah, so here you can see compressed blank data, which is just repeating zeros. So you can see it compressed 4,096 bytes to 1. So it compressed it to 0.02% of the size. It did like 1,000 times compression. It compressed white noise, compressed 8% off the size. So 100 to 92. You can see it did the exact same thing. It actually did worse with the line. That's the super interesting thing to me with this, is it actually compresses the white noise better than the line. Then it compressed the high frequency sine wave of floating points even better to 89%. So this is actually amazing because you just get straight up like 10% compression on floating points and things. So like I've had neural networks in the past that take up like 300 megabytes on my hard drive. Reducing that to like 270 megabytes is like actually good, especially if I start scaling that up to gigabytes. It's just so good to have a compression algorithm you can just like apply to things. And yeah, this works where LZ77 doesn't. So this is the cool thing about this as well, is even after you compress this in a file, you could then throw that file in a zip file that'll then do the LZ77 compression, or zip compression. Okay, hold on. For peace of mind, I need to compile something with OpenGL just to see if it runs. Oh yeah, this is also the test I did for the mutex lock test. Here, while I'm showing off some of the other programming I was doing, I should show this mutex lock test, because this is... I'm actually happy with this test. You can see right here in my results, the mutex is like 100 times faster. Or sorry, the spin lock is like 100 times faster. So you can see here, our test, it loops through val iteration, val it is equal to 100, basically loops through adding an unsigned integer to itself 100 times during a mutex, and it runs this on 8 threads, so it's like probably the worst case scenario of a multi-threaded thing where all 8 threads are competing for a lock. The reason I had this loop here is basically to so that I can change how many operations it does when it locks, so that I wanted to see how much it affected, like basically mutex locks start. Anyways, let me just show you. So then down here it measures how long it takes, or how many count iterations it gets in a certain time, which tells you how fast it ran. Right here, this is running the mutex test. I should actually stop this after a certain time because it gets kind of annoying. I'm going to run it for 10 seconds and then I'm going to output the average iterations. I actually like never completely finished this test, I just quickly wrote it. I saw someone tweet out that mutexes were faster and it triggered me to write this. I was like, I do not believe that until I test it. And do iterations per millisecond. So I think, how do I do that? So we're going to do per second. Okay. Oh wait, and it's going to close afterwards with the way this is currently running, so I need to use this while true loop. Everyone tells you not to write while true loops, but how else do you get your program not to close? Twitter's not a website of smart people. Man, it has a lot of smart people, but they're just drowned out by all the dumb people. Okay. Awesome. So, 234,000 iterations per second. So I'm going to write this. We're gonna write down our stats here. All right. So with the iterations equals 100, the mutex gets 234,000 iterations per second. Now let's try it with the spin lock. So just to be clear how this spin lock works, those interlocked compare exchange right here, which is atomic compare exchange instruction, and it just does a complete while loop with no thread sleep. The whole idea is that it's just trying to access the data as quickly as possible, even if it wastes processor cycles. My whole logic being that there's a whole bunch of games and applications that I'm trying to write where I do not care about being most efficient and saving cycles. I seriously, if it's a question of having your PC waste cycles, a few cycles, and waste energy, or getting higher FPS in a game, I'm totally, oh god, that's too big a number. Oops. We need to convert this. There we go. I don't know why it output that as, I wish it didn't do that. I can't remember how to do it. There is an option you can do in printf to stop it from outputting, then we can see spin lock here. Iterations per second. So if you look at these numbers right here, 1 is 100 times, wait, 234,100,000, 2,318,000. So this is actually 10 times faster. So I'm actually curious. I want to go back to val it equals 1. And we'll see how that works. Also, I'm going to do this as an integer. Because that's the only way I can think of to make it not output. Screen is just blank for me. Oh, I did drop some frames. Is it good? Alright, now let's try the mutex. I'm actually curious if this is going to be faster on this PC. Oh no, it's definitely not. Oh my god, that's... holy shit, that's crazy. Okay, so look at these numbers. So, mutex... Okay, so look at the mutex. 234,100,000 with 100 iterations. I think this program causes it. Oh my god! Yeah, dude, you're right, you're right. It's using all 8 cores and it's taking away from OBS. You're right. You were totally right. That is... I never thought of that before. This is why I do some of these tests off stream. Is because they use all 8 cores and they kill the stream. Oh god, okay. We'll deal with it. Alright, this is so interesting though. Alright, look at this. So the mutex, when it's doing 100 operations, it gets 234,100,000 iterations in. And when it's doing 1 operation, it gets 234,100. So the mutex is basically throttled by whatever thread scheduling is being done. So you see the spin lock here. When it's doing 1, it's doing 7 million versus the 2 million. So it's literally like the spin lock gets way more benefit of having an actual... like, if you're doing very little operations, the spin lock is way better than the mutex. So I have a theory that once you get to like 10,000 iterations, the mutex starts being the same or better. I'm going to turn the number of cores down to 5 so that it... or actually, let's try 6. Let's see if it... Let's benchmark this. Let's see if it drops frames when we use 7 out of the 8 cores. And actually, I'm an idiot. I might not even be remembering... yeah, 8 logic process. Okay. I was just like, wait, do I have a 4-core processor on this PC? That would have done it. Okay, so now with 10,000... Yeah, it's not dropping frames now. Okay. Nice. So that's all I need to do. Just run it not on all 8 cores. Alright, now finally just do a spin lock. And I'm not going to compare these tests to the other ones, so it doesn't really matter that I'm running on less cores. Oh yeah, so you can see now that it's so yeah, this is amazing. Even at 10,000 operations, the spin lock, you can see it's still doing 400,000 while the mutex is doing 180. It's still, so I'm thinking actually at 100,000 it might finally pass and be better. This is a great test. Thanks. Man, it just drives me crazy when I see people on Twitter say stuff like mutexes are faster, and what immediately goes in my head is it's like, okay, faster with what? Faster when you're doing 10,000 operations, or faster when you're doing one tiny add operation? Because it's actually kind of obvious to anyone that knows this stuff that atomic operations will win by far when you're just doing things like adds, but you don't always have access to atomics. That's amazing. Even at... Is that... I copied the wrong thing. Yeah. Oops. There we go. Alright, last one. Let's try the mutex. I'm really curious to see if this is actually going to be similar. I'm going to be really disappointed if the mutex is always slower. Yeah, the mutex is straight up always slower. I guess it makes sense too because it has the overhead of thread scheduling. But yeah, you can see here, even with 100,000 operations, it still gets 10,000 more. This is 59,000, basically 60,000. This is 70,000. So it gets 10,000 more operations. And so this whole part of the reason I also care about this so much is if you look at opening with gedit, if you look at my class here, slist, this is synchronized list, you'll see I have this lock as a mutex. So you'll see each time I'm trying to synchronize this across threads to add things, I'm locking the mutex and unlocking it. So I was like, so this is basically, in my eyes, the definition of a small operation. All it's doing is locking, copying over a small part of data, which, like, some of these lists are just holding pointers that are like 4 or 8 bytes. It's copying insanely small amounts of data. So it's doing super small operations, like at most 50, but it's doing a mutex for it. So I was like, man, if I can get this spin lock, which is 10 times faster, then this will be amazing for this, because I can replace this with a spin lock now. Hey, Druid BR. But yeah, I am very happy with this test. That's going to be something I'm going to need to go through, though, and create a system for... Probably going to create a macro just like I have for these mutexes to easily do the spin locks. Honestly, though, the spin locks are so much easier than the mutexes as well, because all you need is a piece of data. You just need a 32-bit integer aligned to 4 bytes, and Malocate automatically aligns stuff to 4 and 8 bytes anyways. So it's like, what are you doing, may I ask? I'm just testing, and as said who said, study? Yeah, this is what I think I'm doing right now. I'm studying. Specifically, I was benchmarking mutexes versus spin locks. Okay. Now, one last thing I was going to do before this test is I'm going to test and see if all the OpenGL libraries and everything are set up. So I've got this giant main.c file right now that has like 3-4 different tests in it. Not really the best thing, but what happened here? I don't even actually, you know what? I don't even think I need to uncomment this stuff. I can just leave it. Malloc is actually really slow for multi-threaded programs because mutex, among other things. Yeah, I'm sure it locks on a mutex. Malloc is like, yeah, so that's the other thing. I don't know if you've actually benchmarked Malloc. I've done some tests like this too about Malloc, and actually I did most of these tests on Linux, so it might not apply to Windows, but 99% of the time, even when you're allocating big data, Malloc is really fast. It's great. It's that 1% of the time, the place that you need to allocate data is like super fragmented. It ends up copying a whole bunch of memory around just for you to allocate that data. And that's the huge issue, is that you don't want to bet, like when you're making something like a game where you want it to run super smoothly, you're basically betting on it not triggering that 1% of the time where Malloc lags for half a second. That ends up with your game lagging for half a second or stuttering. But like that is insanely rare if you actually test it. Like lagging for half a second is unheard of. For reference, I got like something like 300 gigabytes allocated per second. Like basically what I did was I had a test that allocated and freed random data in random orders as much as it could and measured how much it could, and the bandwidth of what it could allocate was insane. So I'm not too worried about it. I think it's like actually implemented really well on a lot of these modern compilers. But that's the other thing I think you need to be aware of, is that Malloc is implemented by the compiler. So like if I go and take one of these programs and maybe put it on Android NDK, Malloc might be way worse. That's the thing you need to be aware of, is it's not like a function that it doesn't have a standard. It's defined by whatever operating system or whatever you're on. Okay. Let's see if this compiles. I don't think it will, but this also tries to use your webcam. Oh, wait. So this will see if I have the Microsoft Foundation. Oh, holy shit, it compiled. So I think it's going to give me an error and say it can't access my webcam. I had to guess. glib implementation from Malloc is like 5,000 lines long. Seems pretty complex. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Sounds good though. I'm glad. That sounds like they've tried to optimize it. That's what normally ends up happening, is the more you optimize it, the bigger the code gets. Okay, yeah, so this is trying to access my webcam right now, which is being used by OBS. So hold on, I want to see if disabling this. Oh yeah, so I'm actually going to need to take the camera off. Yeah, shit. Because OBS keeps using the camera. You actually need to delete the camera from OBS. Otherwise it doesn't... Hell yeah, here we go. Okay, this is what I wanted to show. Oh my god. Okay, so this is using OpenGL right now. You can see it's tracking my head. This is actually an awesome example. So it's tracking my head. It's doing basic color tracking right now. So first of all, this is amazing just itself. This means all the OpenGL libs and everything are set up. I just realized it's not clearing right there. But yeah, let me show you what this program does. This is something I thought was pretty cool. Okay, so basically, I want to try and make Beat Saber, but you don't need VR. I know this sounds weird, but bear with me. Let me show you what I mean. So basically, all you need for Beat Saber and for these motion tracking games is you need to track a point or a I don't know how to describe it. Basically, yeah, track a point or an object, and then track the motion through that, calculate collisions and stuff. Basically, all of this motion controller stuff starts with tracking points. So here you can see just a basic flashlight, and you have a fucking motion controller. So the one issue is you can see the webcam. See, that's the one thing I'm trying to get, is getting a higher frame rate. And I obviously need to fix up the tracking so that it doesn't jump to something else when it goes off screen. But so far, I'm very happy with this. This looks stupid, but imagine this as like so I've been thinking about a bunch of games you could do with this. So first of all, like I showed before, it can just track my face. So potentially I just wanted to make a game where you just dodge things. I think that would just be fun. But the main thing I'm looking at is a Beat Saber-like game where try and get 2 different colored trackers or something. I'm trying to figure out something that everyone has at home. Not like a flashlight, maybe like a marker or something that you can hold up and easily track. And then have 2 of those like Beat Saber. Have some notes or something fly across the screen and basically have you hit them with the motion controller. And then you've got like scuffed homemade Beat Saber, is my logic. I just kind of want to do this just because it seems like a fun little thing. But then I was looking at much more complex tracking. Like, I was thinking about, okay, so if you start having 2 points, even though it's in 2D, if you had 2 of these track points on a connected, like if you had a pipe, like a gun or something that was a... I'm going to turn this off 1 second. So if you have like a, like imagine a gun stock or something with a light on each end, you can input into this software how long the stock is, and even though the 2 points are just a 2D point tracking, it can actually work out from how far the points are away and what angle they're at. Knowing how long the stock is, you can actually do 3D, basic 3D tracking. And if you imagine 2 points connected on a gun stock, you can do like Duck Hunt, where it basically It's tracking my hand right now. Basically, like, you can, like, imagine an arcade game where you aim at your screen and, like, shoot. I think this stuff is just so fun to test. Anyways, though, this is great. Having this all set up now, I'm so impressed that this just went and compiled. Like, oh my god, I did not... I thought I would get way more issues with this. But this is great. Now I can just start... I've got all my basic projects here to get started. I'm actually... there's a reason I didn't copy over all of the projects I had. I thought it was getting kind of clogged where I had a folder with like 20 projects in. It's kind of nice now just having this folder with only 4. Feels way cleaner. Alright, hold on, let me get video capture device here back. And I need to get back here as well. Alright. How are you doing tonight, Morame? Gotta go to sleep? Said who? I understood nothing but amazing. Well, have a good sleep. I'm actually, yeah, I'm gonna get off soon as well. Actually, I'm getting off like right now. I've basically finished everything that I wanted to do. I just wanted to get this started. Probably gonna do a stream tomorrow where I finish up these C programming tutorials and polish them up a lot more. And then we'll get back into developing games and doing some of this maybe motion tracking stuff. We'll see. Anyways, I'm going to bed too soon. I hope you guys have a good night. I'll see you around. I'm pretty happy with this stream. Got everything set up in like an hour and a half. Now I know I'm just ready to go compile C and C++ programs again. All right. Have a good night, everyone. I'll see you around. I'm definitely going to be doing streams every day again. So stay tuned for that. Have a good one.